Hi, welcome to the GenX Glam Goodie Bag channel here on YouTube. It is great to see everyone. Whether you're new, whether you're coming back, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. I'm your host, Mom in the Basement, doing a little bit of glam, doing a little bit of gap, and sometimes I do giveaways. There is a giveaway going on this week. I'm going to link the video, the giveaway video in this video description so that you can go to that video, make a comment in it, be subscribed to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. And yeah, then you'll be in the running. It's a USA and Canada giveaway. So good luck to everyone. All right, now I'm just popping on really quickly. I only have one school drop off to do today, but I'm kind of in a mad hurry. Luckily, it was not a wash and dry the hair day, so I just threw it back in the scrunchie, which, you know, mom on the go. I usually do that. And I'm gonna get into this video. I've been talking about decluttering a lot lately. I think I've been talking about decluttering for a very long time. You know, if you're new to the channel, I'm a person that just started wearing makeup not too long ago, relatively speaking, seeing as I'm 51, like a couple years ago. So I've been around a while. I mean, I wore makeup, obviously, just not a ton. And I especially didn't wear a ton of foundation. And I'm shocked to find out now, over the past couple of years, how, you know, for somebody that, you know, just started a collection, how quickly the collection has grown and how many, you know, for base foundation products that I have. If you're new to the channel, I do this a lot. I'm just sort of massaging in my skincare and the color correction that I just put down because we're going for a base. This is my point. I have a lot of bases going on down here at my glam station. I'm getting ready to move. I'm getting ready to go through my stuff to see what I can put in this spring's community garage sale. And I've identified some keepers and some definitely going in the garage sale products. This one's a keeper. I know this for a fact. This one's a keeper. I got this last year when I was like on this like skin tint sunscreen kick. I was trying a lot of different brands and I really like this Tower 28 one. Sunny Days, I think, is the collection, and I bought it in the shade Melrose. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on and put a little flush of color, you know, powder it down and get out the door. But the gab today is inspired by Subby Dawn. Dawn asked the question, hey, what do you prefer, beauty blender or brush? Now, this is an age-old question, right? And please weigh in the comments if you have any insight or any additional tips and tricks or, you know, an opinion on this. So from my experience and from what I've read, because I have read up on this, let's just first look at this. I'm swatching it on my hand first. That's really nice. That's really nice. So from what I've read and from what my experience has been using both, because I asked myself the same question, you know, when I started hanging out here at my glam station, you know, what's better than the other one? And it really comes down to a personal preference. That's what I wrote back in the comments to Dawn. The brushes tend to be more, you waste less product. They tend to be a little bit more precise, like you can really get in there with them. But they can also tend to be a little bit streaky. What I like to do usually is take my product and do like a dot method for application. And then I'll go in, you know, possibly with a brush and just kind of spread it around. But, you know, if I notice that it starts streaking, then I immediately switch to the blender because the Beauty Blender is going to pick up more product. The Beauty Blender, because of that, one might consider it a little bit more wasteful of an application tool, but because of that, it's also going to give you a lighter coverage, and that's always what I'm going for. That's always what I'm going for. So I tend to gravitate towards finishing my face off with a Beauty Blender because I'm always like taking that look and seeing like, oh, too much. I need to tone this down. But let's look at this tint moisturizer. It's SPF, again, it's from Tower 28. It's only SPF 30, which isn't a ton, but where are my ingredients here? Yes, this is a zinc oxide on the back. So that means this is one of our mineral sunscreens. So the ingredients themselves are providing that barrier to the sun, whereas the chemical sunscreens have a chemical reaction that's going on between them that's giving you a, that's producing the UV barrier. So this is a mineral sunscreen. It's got the zinc oxide in it. It's not, there's no scent to it, and it's not really leaving a white cast. I think it's a very nice tint. But, SPF 30, I think, is just like the minimum number that a company can throw down and say it's giving you, I would say, like the minimum coverage. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, I think when I'm going out this summer and I'm going to do any sort of outdoor activity, I'm going to definitely be using 50 or above. All right, now let's talk foundation brushes. From my experience, I just used my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Complexion foundation brush. You've got like the little end over here where you could, get in and do your color correcting if you'd like, or maybe you could do something on your lids, like talk about precision, right? And then I think that this brush head, this size, is just the right size. I love this brush. It cleans up really well. It feels soft on my face, but there's enough density to it where it's spreading the product out and it's not getting streaky. I think, if you're going to use a brush to blend out, here's another thing. The beauty blenders tend to be much better to blend out creamier products, right? Whereas you could use a beauty blender. You could use a beauty blender to blend out, to apply a powder, but you probably get better result if you use a brush on your powders. And for cleaning, the brushes, remember how I talked about how you can get yourself from Amazon some 70% alcohol liquid. Get yourself like an empty spray bottle from the Dollarama or the Dollar General or Dollar Store, cheapy, and boom, you've made your own makeup cleaner. I learned at beauty school that that's all you need to clean your brushes. That's what they used at beauty school. They just had a 70% alcohol foundation. They had their little spray bottles all over the place. Now that we've gotten something like this a little bit gunky, you need a soap to take care of this. And at beauty school, they just used a really nice antibacterial, just a little tiny bit squeezed on, rubbed it around, wringed it out, and let those brushes dry. Whereas beauty blenders need to really be cleaned every other day or so. I usually clean them rather after each use. All right, at beauty school, when we went through my brush kit, this is the brush that teacher said was the foundation brush. So this is what we used for our foundation brush. I used this one yesterday. This is from the brand Quo, and I love it because it has that dual end to it. I got this brush from in a bundle from the brand PUR, which is a Canadian brand, and it on the packaging, it was like you got like a foundation. I think you got like not a foundation. You got a compact, but it was a real interesting compact. It was like it was a pressed powder, but yet it could also be like a powder foundation. It was a really interesting formula. I have to see if I can find that compact somewhere now that I'm thinking about it. But then they also had an under eye cream in there, and then this brush, which I really, really like. I liked it so much, I didn't use it for a while, but I was just admiring it. But it is also a foundation brush. I think if you just, you can make anything work. But something like this, for example, this is just too fluffy. This is not, not everything can be converted into a foundation brush. You need a little bit of density, right? And all of these brushes offer that, but yet they are still soft. This one's great because you can really like spread it out. This head is a lot bigger than the Charlotte Tilbury head, but they're bigger in size, but their shape is very similar, very similar. Yeah, so it comes down to a personal preference. I tend to start with a brush, and then I tend to finish my face off with the Beauty Blender because, again, the brushes give a little bit more coverage than I normally go for when spreading out my foundation. Now, obviously, I don't want to say the word obviously because I don't know if it's necessarily obvious, but when it comes time to then go set my face with powders, blushes, and setting powders, I'm definitely going to turn to my brushes. I'm going to stay away from my beauty blenders. So let's talk tiny bit about the beauty blenders. You know, there's a debate out there, but I don't think it's much of a debate. I think most people will agree. Look at, I'm finishing with my hands. So it's really getting back to Dawn's original question, and I think many of you will agree, it's a total personal preference, right? Like, some people will do their full face with a beauty blender. I think I did a video with that. Like, I just did I did everything with a beauty blender in a video because I was, I don't know, I was just feeling it. But the beauty blenders do tend to speed the process along, definitely. But I was just saying, I think that it's probably a personal preference, right? Whether a person wants the beauty blender sort of look, that flawless blend, or if they want the more precision brush blend. But then you just need to make sure that you're not getting all streak. And with the beauty blender, I was going to say, I think most people would agree, although some people don't dampen their beauty blenders. I'm just, whatever I couldn't wipe off my hand, I'm putting on here. Most people do. I would suggest not using a dry blender on your face. Just like get it under a little bit of water, squeeze it out. That's what I do. And then after I squeeze it out, I will kind of tap it on a towel that I have in my bathroom, just to so it's not sopping wet. And you know what else I've seen the gurus do? I've seen the gurus take, I'm just looking for any setting spray, Here's a Milani. Here's my Milani Make It Last, which many of the gurus, I've heard more than one anyway, say that this Make It Last setting spray by Milani is a nice, I don't know, dupe, I guess, subby for the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Airbrush Flawless Spray. But anyway, so if you don't say you're like me. Sometimes I'm here at my glam station, I'm like, oh, the bathroom's so far away, and I have forgotten to dampen, my beauty blender. I have seen the gurus just spray their beauty blenders, right? And that with a setting spray. But again, did you see how I used my Milani Make It Last? I didn't want to use my Charlotte Tilbury for that necessarily. So maybe if you've got a lower end one, when I went with my friend to get her makeup done at Sephora, that makeup artist, she was using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless, but she was spraying my friend's face so often. She would do a round, maybe she would do skincare, and then she would spray. She would do the color correcting, then she would spray. She would then go in with the foundation, and then she would spray. She was spraying all throughout the process, locking that in. All right, I got to get out of here, but I wanted to see how the new Flush Blush from Glow Recipe interacted with this sunscreen, because I do plan on using this sunscreen this summer, and I kind of wanted to use this Flush Blush this summer. Now, this is technically a cream, and like I just said, the research shows that beauty blenders tend to blend creams in quite well as opposed to a brush. But I got out this brush from P. Louise. It's got the cookies on it, and it's like a stamping brush. So I'm just gonna go in because I want to diffuse it out a little bit. This product itself is already, because it's got the skincare going on in it, it's already quite thin. And if I would have used the beauty blender on that, I'm just afraid it really would have picked up a lot more product than I wanted. But again, remember, the beauty blenders will give you that lighter sort of airbrush coverage, because a lot of the product is being soaked up on the sponge, and because you can just really get in there and blend it into your skincare, as opposed to brushes. You really have to work harder at it. And I like I said, maybe I'm just not as good of an artist with those brushes, but I do tend to think that I look a bit streakier when I use them. All right, that's it. I wanted to bring it up a little bit. And I'm going to go over this. I'm going to go ahead now and set everything with my Charlotte Tilbury. Get a little bit going on. I'm going to use my Charlotte Tilbury Moving into the airbrush flawless finish. And again, I use my hands for a lot. I like to tap things. You saw me come on my video tapping my skincare and my color correcting in. I do that as well with my creams. I'll warm up my forehead a tiny bit. I'm really digging this Merit creamy bronzer stick. Let's just do that. But I'm going in with my beauty blender on this because I just threw it on there, right? And so not very precision-esque. I just wanted to warm up a few spots on my face. But I do want to hear from everyone. I want to hear from everyone. What are their thoughts? Give me your pros, give me your cons for the beauty blenders versus brushes. You know, did I cover everything based on your experience? I mean, I think that there's just so much personal preference involved in every aspect. I'm going on my lids with this. In every aspect of what we do at our glam stations. Dawn, do not think there is a right or wrong answer. That's why our glam stations are so fun. We get to carve out time to hang out at them and just mess around and answer these age-old questions, right? All right, let's go in and do a little bit of setting. I'm debating on, I'm not doing much with my lids. This is a very much, you know, I wanted some coverage. I wanted to smooth out, you know, I wanted to smooth out my skin with a little bit of a blend. I wanted to see how my Tower 28 Sunny Days in the shade Melrose is still holding up. How's that formula? Because it's almost a year old. It's doing good. It's going to get me through this summer. But again, I would also like to know, what do people think of SPF 30? That's like the minimum, right? Like that's the minimum in coverage. But if I'm not playing a sport, if I know I'm not playing a sport, say I'm going to like an evening event, a summer evening event, there's a lot of fish fries and stuff around town, and a lot of just like hanging out, hanging out with family, just sitting on like a lawn chair, just watching the world go by on summer vacation up in the woods in the lake. Then I think that this would be fine for that. But if I'm going to go out kayaking, I'm going to go out for the, you know, midday playing tennis or pickleball or bike riding or whatever, I'm going to wear probably my Sport 50 types of sunscreen. I would like to go back to the original point that I read. That original point. I made a lot of points when I've been talking about sunscreen these past couple of weeks, but I want to go back to this main takeaway. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. One of the articles that I read about mineral versus chemical sunscreen, and I just think that this is the takeaway. Don't get tripped up in the debate and any sort of stigma when you hear the word like chemical, for example. I think most of the sunscreens out there might be chemical, at least the ones that are in, you know, makeup, in the makeup category. The most important thing is that you wear sunscreen. That's the takeaway. That's the takeaway. All right, wherever you are. Ooh, I'm not signing off yet. I wanted to use this again because I really liked it. I used it yesterday for the first time in the shade Posh. This is a Nude Sticks. It's a lip and cheek crayon, but I am just gonna use it kind of like a fat overlay on the lips. And I'm going to fill it in. I don't have time to go into all of these click pens, but I just think that this is hilarious that there was such a rage with these click pens. Like I've got 5 different brands here. This is Kaja. This one here is Essence. I think that's a pretty color though from Essence. I'm so glad to see that Essence got in on this action. Elf. These give the tingles. I was not a fan of buying these. The fat oil sticks from NYX, these are super hydrating. I will agree with that. And then this is just one from P. Louise. She got in on the action too. All of these, but I'm going to use the Kaja one today. That's what I pulled out. Yesterday was the video where I did, no, I'm not confused. Although, yes, I sometimes am easily confused. It was yesterday's video where I was using this sort of like makeup stick themed, and I pulled these out and I didn't get a chance to use them. So I'm gonna just use them today. All right, let's spray down. And now I will say, let's go back with the Milani. Why not? Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope that you're well. I hope your family is well. I appreciate you. I can't say it enough. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.